Hi, it's Ollie from Jibtuning again. This is the last operation that we're going to be doing in video tutorials. We're going to cover waxing. Before we start, I just want to talk to you a little bit about the basics. Now, there's a bit of misconception. A lot of people think when you wax your skis and your boards, you literally put a layer of wax over it, scrape it back a bit and leave a thin layer. Now, there's not a lot of point in spending a lot of money on a decent high grade ski or snowboard base when you're just going to put wax over it. You're not getting your money's worth. What you should be doing is opening up the pores of the ski or board, bedding the wax in, scraping it down to the base and giving it a good buff so that the wax works in conjunction with the base. Alright? So starting off, we're just going to open up the pores. We use our buffing and structuring pads. Starting off with coarse, working our way down to fine, like sanding a table. And we're just going to put the structure in and open up the pores at the same time. So just working from the tip to the tail with your coarse, and then you go down in steps, medium, same thing again, and then fine. A lot of people say to me, how do I know that I need to put a fresh layer of wax onto your ski or your board? What I would say is it's always good to put fresh wax in before you go away on holiday anyway. But if you're wondering if you want to leave it for a little bit longer, see how much you can get out of your bases, look at them and see if they're getting dry. If they're looking furry and dry, then you know that you need to put more wax in to get them working properly. So we've opened up the pores, we can go straight into waxing now. So what we do, dialing our iron in at the right temperature so it's not burning the wax or smoking. We're just going to start using the corner of the iron to drip it down the length of the ski or board. Then we're going to go back and we're just going to get a pull going and then start spreading it out, making sure that we cover the whole base. Just nice and slowly moving the wax about from edge to edge. The reason why we work tip to tail is because obviously it's the direction that we're going to be moving in. So you get a lot smoother glide when you finish it. Once you spread it out, we just go back, we get a pull going again, and then nice and slowly with our iron, we're just going to impregnate the base with the wax. Now, depending on where you're going skiing or boarding as to what sort of wax you should be using. A good rule of thumb is the softer and wetter the snow, the softer the wax, the harder the snow or icy conditions, the harder the wax. You just test it by pressing your thumb into the wax itself and you get a good idea. It's difficult for us in the British market to choose the right wax because, I mean, ideally we should be going out and testing the snow temperatures and coming back and putting the wax on accordingly. Just keep an eye on the weather reports and judge it by that. Right, so I'm going to leave that until the wax has cooled down. It depends on the wax. If you're using a soft wax, it's going to take a little bit longer. If you use a hard wax, it's going to take a little bit shorter. So we're going to leave that for now and come back to scraping in a minute. Right, so now we know that our wax is cooled down and it's dried off. Now it's ready to scrape. Just a little bit about scrapers first, mind you. two types you can get: plexiglass scraper, which has got all these notches, cutouts, chamfers. They're really good for removing wax from tricky areas like sidewalls, binding parts, things like that. The scraper I prefer to use is an acrylic scraper. Now the reason why is acrylic not only stays sharp for longer, but also it's got the perfect friction properties, so that when we're scraping the wax off, it's also bedding it in, right, causing friction, melting it down and bedding it deeper into the pores, right, so you're kind of getting 2 for 1 with it. A lot of people I see scrape like this, pushing down the ski. The trouble with that is it gets juddery and it marks the base as well. The way I like to scrape, thumbs in the middle, scraper angling away from you and pushing away as well. Same again, working from tip to tail. Just going to start at the front, pushing away from us. Nice long strokes all the way down to the tail. Like I said before, we want the wax to be in the pores, not on top of the base, so we're going to scrape it all the way down. Making sure we're taking all the wax off. You notice when you're getting down to the base, because there's barely any wax coming off your scraper, and also you're getting a nice smooth glide with your scraper. So when we're happy that we're all the way down to the base of the ski or board, we then need to polish it out, make it a nice smooth finish. Now you want to spend quite a bit of time doing this, because this is what's going to give you the speed. Alright? We're going to start off polishing structuring pads. If you've got hand brushes, you can use hand brushes with the horsehair, brass or nylon parts in it. It does exactly the same things. They don't generally last as long as the hand brushes, but they are a little bit of a cheaper option. Exactly the same as before, so that when we're buffing this out, it's like sanding a table, starting coarse, working our way down to fine. And we're just going to go tip to tail, just polishing the wax. We're causing friction, bedding it down even further. We're also creating a structure in the base. Right, it's very small grooves going all the way down, so that when you actually slide over snow and it creates a fine film of liquid underneath, it's flowing down the length. So I'm going to move down a grade, just to polish it out a bit better. Down again to a fine pad. So it's nice and smooth. You can feel the difference. You can stop there. I personally like to then move on to a waxing cork. Creates a little bit more friction, so it beds it down even further, and it takes off what we call wax dandruff as well. After you've been buffing and structuring, you get these little wax dandruff pellets, and remove them. Tip to tail again. You'll start to see a really nice shiny finish now. Now, you can stop there, but what I would recommend is you do the waxing a couple of times, so the wax really does go nice and deep into the pores. So we're roughing it up again, back with the wax, Keep doing that until you've got as many layers as you specifically want. Polish it up, jobs are good, and off we go. The only thing that's left to do is just to get rid of that wax on the sidewalls. Just grab your scraper, remove it off the edges, and on the base edge as well. And that's it, job done. Skis are ready to go. I'm going to slide nice and quick. That's pretty much it. If you've got any other queries, or you want to see us doing any more sort of demonstrations, maybe something we haven't covered already, then email us and we do our best to film it.